I called a personal injury law firm running $30,000 a month Google Ads. And after 11 rings and no answer, no voicemail, just dead air, I hung up and tried again. And they answered with, I quote, hello? I was shocked and almost hung up the phone. I thought, oh crap, I must have dialed the wrong number. And that's when I knew. Their mistake wasn't just costing them signed cases, it was torching their ad spend budget. If your firm's getting clicks but not signed cases, this one's for you. If you're new here, I'm Kaylee, your legal lead shark Google Ads expert. And today I'm going to be breaking down how a hello was costing a personal injury law firm thousands of dollars. One of the biggest bottlenecks for personal injury law firms: their intake, not their keyword strategy, not their targeting, but their first impression. I hear a lot of law firms that will claim Google Ads doesn't work or blame their ads agency for getting poor results. But if your intake team isn't properly trained to convert Google Ad leads into signed cases, knowing how to speak to the person on the other end of the call, your marketing will never see the full ROI that it should be seeing. We've seen firms spending 35 to 50 or 100K a month on their Google Ads, only to miss 50% or more of those opportunities because their intake team didn't answer on the first call. They didn't have an overflow call center for backup calls or after hours and weekend calls, or their intake team simply wasn't up to industry standards. In personal injury, timing is everything. If someone is searching for how to file a claim after an auto accident, they've likely just been in an auto accident and are trying to figure out how to get the insurance to pay for everything. Your dream client, right? But if your intake team isn't picking up on the first 1 to 5 rings, that opportunity is slipping through your fingers. They're simply going to hang up and call your competitor. Even worse, if you do have an intake team that's picking up, but they're not addressing the elephant in the room, which is a lot of people who are calling don't want to sue or go after the other person. They just want their time off work, their pain and suffering, their medical bills, and their car to be paid for. They have no idea that the other person's insurance company is going to offer them as little as possible and make it as difficult as possible. There's a big belief that your intake needs to be trained on how to address and break. Here's what most personal injury firms are missing. A lot of people after an accident aren't calling personal injury lawyers because in their mind, they think it would be greedy to get more than they deserved, or that they would be going after that person personally when that person's probably a good person and all they want is a fair settlement. Your intake team and marketing need to reframe what hiring a lawyer after an accident actually looks like. You're not helping them sue for more or be greedy or going after that person directly. You're protecting them from being lowballed by the insurance companies, ignored, or given the runaround. Let me share with you a personal story. This actually happened to my dad years before I was in this industry and knew any better. He was on his way home from work and he was in his work truck and hit by another commercial vehicle. He must have been hit pretty hard because he had a solid metal welding truck on the back, was hit from behind, and was hit hard enough to total the entire welding machine. He also suffered really bad vertigo for up to 6 months. Now my dad's your typical old-fashioned Texas blue-collared worker. He's honest, fair, and never asked anyone for anything. All he needed was his medical bills covered, the time off work because of the vertigo covered, and his truck to be fixed. After over 6 months of getting the runaround with the other guy's insurance company, providing them over 100 documents that they requested, they were still denying his claim. Why? Well, to quote the insurance agent, she said, "Sir, there's no way you're actually making this much money," even after providing a notarized document from his employer. At this point, he said the mental anguish of having to deal with the insurance company was worse than the vertigo or being in the accident itself. He finally broke down, called a personal injury lawyer, and within 1 week got a settlement for 30% more than he had even asked for. When I asked him, "Dad, why did you wait so long?" He said, "I don't know. I just thought hiring a lawyer was greedy. It meant that I was going after that guy personally. I had no idea that all they were doing was making sure that the insurance company wasn't trying to screw me and that they weren't able to stretch it out another 6 months requesting all these ridiculous documents." That, my friend, if you are a personal injury lawyer, is the belief that you're up against. Your intake team needs to be aware of that and be trained on how to disarm it fast. The story I told you about at the beginning of this video, I called a lawyer's intake team to test them. Here's why. We were actually running the Google Ads for them. Everything was looking great on our end, but we didn't have access to their intake team's call recordings. So when he was complaining about all of these leads being junk and not turning into signed cases, we knew something must be off. So we decided to do a blind test on his intake team. Now, this guy loved his intake team. He bragged about them. He said they were a 10 out of 10. And I would hope that he thought so. However, sometimes when we're working in something, we can't see the obvious gaps that other people can. The second call that I made to the intake team was answered with the hello, no introduction of the law firm, introduction of himself, no asking what my name was and getting my information, because that's what the intake team is supposed to be doing, actually getting the information of the lead. Nothing. Just hello? Yeah, how can I help? That is a complete disaster. And in case you think maybe it was a one-off, it wasn't. We did 11 more blind tests before sharing with the law firm owner what we had found. And all of the other calls went just as poorly. Here's the truth. If you knew what the gaps were in your intake system, you would have obviously already fixed them. But most firms can't see what they're missing until leads stop converting and their ad spend budget starts bleeding. That's exactly what happened for this client. And this is exactly why law firms need to partner with agencies that don't just run ads for you. They build intake systems, training, and call tracking frameworks to catch these hidden gaps before they burn through your marketing budget. Because at $100 a click, every missed call is a missed opportunity, but you're paying for it either way. If your personal injury firm has been running Google Ads, but you're simply not seeing a return on ad spend, book a discovery call with us. Let's see if we're a good fit to work together. Again, we're much more than just a Google Ads agency. We function almost like a fractional CMO plus lead conversion strategist, like an integral part of your team. But we do offer our clients an exclusivity radius. We don't think it's ethical to run ads for you and your competitors at the same time, which means there might be a waiting list in your area to work with us. So book a call and get to us before your competitors do. And be sure to check out these other videos on our channel so that you can not only utilize marketing correctly for your law firm, but you can also avoid the most common mistakes made in the personal injury space. We'll see you in the next video.